Okay, let's talk about area and perimeter of parallelograms. A parallelogram is a four-sided polygon that has two sets of parallel lines. Now, I usually say the two sets are like two sets of train tracks. You've got train tracks going horizontally and then maybe vertically or diagonally. So it's got two sets of parallel lines, two sets of train tracks. Now, there are some special parallelograms. Squares, rectangles, and rhombuses are some of our special parallelograms. A square is a parallelogram because you can see there are two sets of train tracks going this way, train tracks going this way, so there's two sets of parallel lines. And it's special because all the sides are the same and then all the angles are 90-degree angles. Okay. A rectangle is also a parallelogram because it also has two sets of parallel lines. Train tracks going this way, train tracks going this way. So a rectangle is a parallelogram. A rectangle is special because it has 90-degree angles and then opposite sides are the same. A rhombus is also a parallelogram. The train tracks kind of go diagonally this way and this way. So it has two sets of parallel lines. A rhombus is special because all the sides are the same and opposite angles are the same. And then you get to this, and there is no special name for this one. This is just a parallelogram. Okay. Now, out of all of these, the square is the most special because a square is a parallelogram because it's got two sets of parallel lines. A square is also a rectangle because the definition of a rectangle is that it has 90-degree angles, which a square has, and opposite sides of a rectangle are the same, which opposite sides of a square are the same. Actually, all the sides are the same. So a square is also a rectangle. A square is also a rhombus because the definition of a rhombus is that all sides are the same, which a square has all sides the same. And in a rhombus, opposite angles are the same, which in a square, since all the angles are the same, the opposite angles are also the same. So a square is also a rhombus. Okay. So now that we've talked about what a parallelogram is, let's find the perimeter and area. Now, the perimeter of any shape is the outside measurement, and it is one-dimensional because it's just a single line. Okay. And you can see that in the word perimeter, you see the word rim, which reminds you that the perimeter is just the edge of your shape, the outside measurement. Area is a space inside a flat shape. It's two-dimensional. Okay, it's no longer a line, it's an actual shape, but it's flat. And we measure area with square units or units squared. We figure out how many squares can fit in a shape, and that's how we measure area. How many squares can we fit in a shape? Now, the area of a parallelogram is base times height. And your base and your height must be perpendicular, which means it has to be a right angle. Now, when you look at a square, the two sides come and they meet at a 90-degree angle. So the base of a square are the two sides that meet, side times side. In a rectangle, your base is the length and your height is the width, because the length and the width happen to meet at a 90-degree angle. So your base and your height are the same thing as length and width. But when you come to this, the bottom, the base, does not meet the side length at a 90-degree angle. So this is not your height. This could be your base, but this is not your height. The base and the height must meet at a right angle. It must be perpendicular. So let's do a few parallelograms. So when we look at this parallelogram, let's find the perimeter. Well, this parallelogram is made up of four sides. All parallelograms actually are made up of four sides because they're four-sided polygons. Now, I have a lot of kids who do this. They say 9 plus 10, and they think 7 is one of the sides, and then they add another 10. Do you see how 7 is dotted? That is not actually a side of the parallelogram. That's why it's dotted. The four sides of the parallelogram are the 10 and the 10, and the 9 and the 9. So when we find the perimeter, it is 10 plus 10 plus 9 plus 9. Okay, and then 10 plus 10 is 20, and then 9 plus 9 is 18, and 20 plus 18 is 38 meters. Okay, now let's find the area. Remember, the area of a parallelogram is base times height. Well, what is our base? Our base is 10. Our height is not 9, because remember, the base and the height have to meet at a 90-degree angle. Our height always comes straight down, from the top of the parallelogram straight down to the bottom. Now, you can draw the height on the inside, but here you can see they drew the height on the outside. The height of this parallelogram from the very top to the bottom is 7 meters. So then the base is 10, the height is 7. Therefore, the area is 70 square meters or meters squared. Remember, for area, we have to have square meters because we measure area with squares. Okay. Now, why is the height 7? Because if we were to actually cut this parallelogram and move this section over here, you can see that it turns into a rectangle, and you can see it be 10 times 7. So the height is 7, not 9. Let's do another one. Here, let's find perimeter first. The 4 sides, if this is 8, this side's 8, and if this is 3, then this is 3. So the perimeter is 8 plus 8 plus 3 plus 3. And that equals, well, 8 plus 8 is 16, 3 plus 3 is 6, 16 plus 6 is 22 centimeters. Not centimeters squared because it's not area. Now let's find the area. Remember, the area of a parallelogram is base times the height. Well, the base, what is this? Well, if the top is 3, then we know the base, this is also 3. So the base is 3. The height, remember, the slant is not your height. The height of the parallelogram has to go from the top straight down to the bottom and hit the base at a 90-degree angle. And you can see the 6 hits the base at a 90-degree angle. So then the height is 6, base is 3. So the area of this parallelogram is 18 square centimeters, or centimeters squared. Now again, we could have cut our parallelogram right here and moved that triangle, this part right here, over here, and you can see it does form a rectangle, and the base would be 6, and the height of the rectangle, the base would be 3, and the height of the rectangle would also be 6 centimeters. So you can see it's 3 times 6, not 3 times 8. Okay, so the height always comes straight down at a 90-degree angle. All right, now what if I give you the base, I don't tell you the height, but I tell you the area is 35. Okay, so fill in what we know. Now we know the area of a parallelogram is base times height. We know the area is 35. We know the base is 5, and we don't know the height. But we know that 5 times some number has to give us 35. So 5 times what number gives us 35? Now to figure this out, you do the opposite. Since it's multiplication over here, you divide over here. So we're going to divide by 5. 35 divided by 5 is 7. So then the height must be 7 inches. Okay, you always do the opposite operation if you're trying to figure out 5 times what equals 35. We'll do 35 divided by 5, and you get 7. So the height is 7. And you can always check your answer. Does the base times the height give us an area of 35 inches squared? Yes, it does.